Hey, what's up, y'all? I just wanted to basically add on to something because I didn't realize that I had went over on my video just a few minutes ago. But I just wanted to say, if Rafael Feijao does not find a way to get Dan Henderson down and submit him in their championship fight, Rafael Feijao, I believe, will lose. Because, as we remember, and I don't want anybody else to remember, and this is a very key factor, and this is one of the reasons why Dan Henderson may win this fight. Rafael Feijao has been knocked out before. You remember, he fought Mike Kyle a year ago at a Strikeforce Challengers event and got shocked by Kyle. So, Rafael Feijao is hittable. His chin is not made of glass. Or, wait a minute. Did I say his chin made of glass? I meant to say his chin is not made of bricks. He does have a glass chin. It can be hit if hit at the right time. So, I just basically wanted to point out that Dan Henderson has a great chance of knocking Cavalcante out and taking his belt. I mean, you saw what he did to Babalu, you know, with that ground and pound, and you saw what he did to Jake Shields. You know, he almost won the middleweight title in a matter of seconds in the fight with Jake Shields before he vacated the title to go to the UFC. So Dan Henderson does have knockout power. Like, don't underestimate Dan Henderson's knockout power. You know, he does have some. He's got some thunder in that fist, man. And if it lands on you, I'm telling you, you're gonna be sore. What's that saying? Blues for the red boy, yeah, or a sight for sore eyes to see, or in this case, a sight for blurry eyes to see. Because if you get hit with that thunderbolt that Dan Henderson has in that glove, that's all you're gonna see is a big blur and a bunch of doctors waving a light in your face, asking you how many fingers are they holding up. So if I was Feijao, you know, and I'm studying tape of Dan Henderson, the one thing that I would be focused on is trying to either get that waist lock and hit that switch and try to get Dan Henderson down, even if I have to drag him down. If Feijao has to drag Dan Henderson down to the mat, so be it. The bottom line is, get that man down. And when you get him down, get top position. Don't try to go for side control. Don't try to go for half guard. Get the mount. And either pound him out or make him give up his back. Lock on that body triangle. Do exactly as your boy Anderson did, Feijao. And as soon as you lock on that body triangle, hook in that RNC. If Feijao does that, he will win the fight. And I think it can happen. That's why I'm picking him in the 4th round. I think, being that Feijao is the younger, faster fighter than Dan Henderson, I do think Dan Henderson, for some reason, is going to get tired in this fight. And Feijao's going to eventually capitalize on that, and he's just going to take him down, whether it be, pressing him up against the fence and getting the double leg, or like I said, either getting that waist lock, that Greco-Roman clinch, and hitting that switch and dragging him down to the mat. But I do believe somewhere in this fight, Feijao will be able to get Dan Henderson down. Now, as far as Feijao on the feet is concerned, I believe that he has a good chance, or I ain't gonna say, well, a good chance, but I'll say it's a good possibility that he'll be able to hurt Dan Henderson. I don't know if he'll be able to cleanly knock him out, but I think it's a good chance he will rock Dan Henderson in that fight. But I'll tell you this, and this is all due respect to Dan Henderson, I believe that Dan Henderson will rock Feijao a couple of times in this fight. I believe that right hand is going to connect on Feijao, whether it just clips him or whether it just grazes him. It doesn't matter. But Feijao will be wobbled in this fight at least twice. Somewhere in between rounds, he will be wobbled. But I don't think he will be knocked down. I think he'll be able to regain his composure, and I think he'll be able to continue. But look for Dan Henderson to connect at least one time with that right hand. Maybe with not all of his power, but at least, you know, clip him a little bit. You know, have him have him you know, doing the stanky leg a little bit, or the Dougie, or whatever you want to call it. But I think that will happen in this fight. But ultimately, I can see Feijao coming out on the winning end, being that Dan Henderson is capable of being submitted. And yeah, I think Feijao will retain his belt. But it won't be easy. It'll be a hard-fought victory for Feijao, because Dan Henderson's going to give it to him. I know that right now. You know, Dan Henderson will give it to him. But I'm going to tell you, though, if Feijao does not get this fight to the mat eventually, he will lose this fight. If he stays standing with Dan Henderson for too long, Dan Henderson will catch him, and he will put him away, and he will be the new Strikeforce light heavyweight champion. So, Feijao, I know you're in training camp right now. You know, you train with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. You know, Anderson Silva, the Nogueira brothers. You know, whoever else trains BJJ up there. I know y'all are training, but at the same time, you might want to implement some wrestling, because you're not going to take Dan Henderson down with the traditional BJJ takedown. You're going to have to actually drive your body into his and actually slam him or yank him down to the mat. Like, it's going to have to be one of those sudden takedowns, like one of those burstful takedowns. So, you know, just apply some wrestling into your arsenal, because that's the only way you're going to take Dan Henderson down. But for the most part, I do believe Feijao will win this fight, and I do believe he will retain his belt, because like Dan Henderson, Feijao is a big guy too, and he's a tall guy, and he's very quick. A lot of people don't know that, but Feijao is very, very quick. So you know, I believe that will play a factor in this fight, because, you know, as great as Dan Henderson is, I mean, at the same time, he's getting up there in age, and I know nobody likes to hear that about age. You know, I know Dan Henderson, you know, hasn't let that hinder him, no pun intended, from competing in mixed martial arts. But I mean, the truth is the truth, man. When your body, you know, hits a certain mark, you know, you're gonna wear down eventually. So yeah, but I'm giving Dan Henderson a good chance. Like, if this fight stays on the feet, I believe Dan Henderson will win the fight. But as soon as it goes to the mat, as far as Feijao is concerned, he will win the title, and I think that's what's going to end up happening. So that's just some, you know, just extra thought on the fight. But that's going to do it for me. Like I said, check out my website, www.MMAmayhematl.blogspot.com. We got some good things on there for you to see, articles, videos, the whole shebang. Send me a question, comment, subscribe to my channel, Brew and Brock. Enjoy the fights this Saturday, and yeah, that'll do it. So until then, I'm finna bounce. God bless each and every one of you. Deuces.